Well, we're going to start this air conditioning cleaning. Now, first thing you're going to do, and this is a must, you're going to pull the power source like that. Okay. The first thing I want to remind you, other than pulling the power source, is if you're not handy or not familiar with equipment like this, make sure you call a professional. It costs you a few bucks, but you're not going to end up wrecking anything. But what I'm going to show you today is how you can clean up from the outside, and I do it 4 times a year. Okay, and it never builds up, it's never heavy. If you look at it, there's hardly anything on it. You get to the back here, it's getting heavy. And the way you can tell, you put a flashlight up against it, and where the light doesn't come through when you're looking in here, that's where it's getting too heavy. We'll do the whole thing, of course. All right. Now what I do my air conditioners on Mother's Day after all the pollen is dropped. I used to do, in fact you can do this if you want, April Fool's, Mother's Day, 4th of July, and then Labor Day. That way you're keeping out the grass cutting, clippings can get in and stuff like that. Now, I have such a little bit of stuff here that I'm just gonna, it's coming right out because I do it constantly. I like to keep things clean and make sure it's running efficiently. Never use a power washer. I don't care what your neighbor says or whatever, it'll destroy these fins. And if you destroy the fins, that's the same as being blocked. They're very soft. They're aluminum, I'm guessing. I don't even use a nozzle. I don't have to. Like I said, I do it 4 times a year. April Fool's, Mother's Day. Now between those dates is when you have a lot of pollen falling, especially in the Midwest. It'll vary depending on where you live, but you don't want to run it full of pollen. Your efficiency will drop. Let's say if you're 20% plugged, you're going to lose 20% of your efficiency, but you're still going to get the electric bill. It's already coming clean. And you can say I do it constantly, gently. We're not getting inside. We're not doing anything that might get us in trouble. A professional would take that fan out, but you know, if you start doing stuff like that and you don't know what you're doing, you're going to end up breaking a wire, and then you're going to have to call a professional because you don't know where it is or where the shard is. And then you know what happens. He sees you try to do it on your own. I guess he probably ain't real happy because you're trying to keep from having a service call, and that's what he does to support his family. He might think you're cheap, so don't get yourself in trouble. See, that's nice and clean already. That's nice and clean. And again, if you take that flashlight, nice and clean. At night you can really see this. Now the way they do it, they go from put the light on the inside, but you got to remove this fan, and I don't want you doing that unless you know what you're doing. There we go. Yeah. But like you see on a lot of YouTubes and all, and don't let them get that bad, geez. Otherwise you have to do overkill and you end up doing some damage. Or yeah, clean as a pin. Last time this was done was 4th of July, and right now we're October 2nd. I got a little tied up. I was out of town, so I missed my Labor Day cleaning. Looks good. Okay, now put the power back in, and you're gonna let it sit for 5 minutes, okay? You might as well do this other air conditioner while we're at it. Pull the power. Yeah, this looks cleaner than the other one. There ain't nothing on this. Yeah. Just clean as a pin, but that's where you want them, you know? Now mine are mounted up in the air. I did that so I wouldn't get grass clippings in. If they're down low, might not be a bad idea to put a shield or something, leaving plenty of space, of course, between the air conditioner and the shield. And keep the grass clippings from being sucked against the coils here. I'm on a hell of an angle here. I don't have to do any pressure. If you let it sit too long, then you're going to have to have a nozzle, obviously. Okay, that one's good to go. All right, they both got to sit for a while. Look how clean those are. Look at that. I can see right on through. Huh. Yeah, even I'm impressed with this. Well, like I say, these are, you know, 8-9-year-old units, but they never have to strain. If they're straining, you're not getting enough air, so you're not cooling the coils down like they should be with these fins. And then after that, the big problem you have is that you got a big electric bill and you didn't get cool. So I'll let this one, I think this one's ready to go now, so that can kick on any time, but they're off inside. I turn them off at the thermostat. This is a 2 units, so I've got an upstairs and a downstairs thermostat. But even if you turn the thermostat off, don't do this without pulling the main power source. Somebody inside decides they're hot and they kick it on while you're screwing with this. You know, if you have to, if you're really going to be safe, pull the main breaker down in the house. You know, and pull the power source. It's not one or the other, it's 1, 2, or 3. So thermostat, power the house, and power to the air conditioning units with the pull-out units here. Make sure they're tight so some kid doesn't get in them. All right. Okay, they're looking good. They're looking good. Now I'll check them in the spring. And if they're still looking this good, they usually don't get too dirty in the fall unless they're building houses around here or something like that. But if they're not running, they're not sucking anything in. But you can get dirt on the surface. You want to get that off so it doesn't work its way in. It takes a couple minutes, you know, but you don't want them to get all clogged up and say, okay, now it's time to do it. No, it's keep them clean all the time. Take a look at it. If there's a little buildup, never use a brush or anything. They have coil brushes and all, but you waited too long if you're using a coil brush, and that'll damage the fins a little bit too. You know, no pressure washer. You know, major things to remember.